Hello.
Hello, beautiful humans, and those of you guys watching this on the replay.
So, the biggest part of this journey, from what I found on my journey, is breathing, right? So, when we're unconscious breathing, a lot of us are just doing survival breathing, breathing enough to survive. And when life happens and things happen in life, we tend to unconsciously step back into survival breathing, right? And with overwhelm and fear and all of this. And when we get into that survival breathing, we're not giving ourselves enough oxygen to give our auras space to be able to understand what it is that we're going through, right? So I feel a big part of this journey is making sure that you're breathing. Are you taking a deep breath in, holding it for however long you desire to hold it for, and then just releasing it, whether it's a or a you
Hmm.
know, are you aware of your breath? Are you aware of what it feels like to like truly oxygenate the system?
Yeah.
Or are
Are
you
you
still
coming? Are you coming to your tools? Right? Are you using your tools? And I think it's important for us, especially with everything. I'm sure people that are following the page understand and know what I'm going through based on the updates, right? And you and I have obviously been having lengthy conversations where we've been holding space for one another. And really, you've been really holding a lot of space for me through this. And I think it's important that we, you know, regardless of what I'm going through versus what everybody else is going through, the emotional intensity is still there in everyone right now. And to see that I'm not getting lost in this. If this wasn't Andy from Once Upon a Time, I would be in a completely different state. You know what I mean? In a state of being. And I think that yes, I'm facing difficulties. Yes, I'm facing a challenge. But at the end of the day, these tools, these lessons, everything that I've gained and I've learned, it cannot be taken. These things, these tools, they don't break down on you and need a mechanic. You know what I mean? They just need to be used.
they just
You
needed to have a reminder, you
hmm
know? And so that's the big thing, is that when going through life experiences that come in with this huge amount of overwhelm, have you, you know, put yourself into a survival frequency of breathing where you're only breathing enough to survive?
Yeah.
Do you even know the difference?
Yeah.
And that's where we get to hold gratitude, right? We get to hold gratitude and abundance in the fact that we get to hold gratitude and none of that today. This is just kind of
Okay.
chit chat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone who's watching and listening. But this is more about where we're at right now and how we're moving through this energy, right? So, Andy has, his situation, his story happening. I had my own story happening. I'm sure all of you watching right now have your own story happening right now, okay? This is what's happening. Things are coming in that are highly emotionally charged, right? And this is where I'm a specialist in is emotions. That's a center that I have defined, and that's really what I work through with frequency and stuff is how to navigate emotions. And there was a point in this time for you and for myself, when we had our stories playing where we started just survival breathing, and the other one was able to pick up on that, like, hey, like, no, you need to breathe right now. Let's breathe, right? And it's not you need to, it's a let's breathe, right? I feel like you're really overwhelmed right now. So let's breathe. Let's take a moment to hold ourselves, feel. And as we feel, we expand our auras out and then to release everything that's heavy. By giving us this moment, this is a major tool. By giving yourself this moment, you're able to take that energy that became so
Yeah.
invasive, that energy that was like weighing you down where you couldn't breathe, where that's why you were in survival because you felt so much pressure, right?
And the truth is of what I'm learning. I'll speak for myself, is that in these moments or when the true opportunities for empowerment are, right? And what I mean by that is that everybody right now can relate to some level of crisis, be it spiritual, emotional, physical, right? We can understand what it feels like to be in crisis, but in the past, we've always chosen um, to shut
Financial.
out.
Financial's a part of that too. And go
Yeah,
ahead. Just
financial,
shut out.
and we've chosen to be in the overwhelm of it. You know what I mean? And there are several times in the past couple of days where I've chosen the overwhelm option, and
And let me pause you there. And
mhm,
that's when we have to stop real quick, right? And remember, wait, we have a tool. So let's breathe, right? Because breathing is something that we can go, wow, I might be really overwhelmed in this category, in this moment of my life, but I honestly have so much abundance and so much gratitude because I have
yes,
so much knowledge on this side of it, right? So it's not getting lost in that oh my gosh moment, right? It's going, okay, that's an oh my gosh moment. Now stopping and breathing and allowing your aura, and this is where I'll bring in expansion, right?
if God
Allowing your
chooses
aura
to
to
put your
expand out.
temple, if God chooses to put your temple on a hill where you can overlook and you have a perspective on many things, right? In that same process, it has to be weathered. You have to make sure that when these crisis moments come up, that we have the stability and the foundation to be able to move through it with grace, remembering who we be, and not giving away our power. You
Right.
know what
I'm
I
going to
mean? And
jump away for a second. I'll be right back.
yeah, no, you're fine. And I think like, it's easy to assume, right? Yes, I'm trying to find solutions or not even trying. I am in the flow of working through options and solutions right now, right? But don't ever get it twisted, you guys. I'm blessed. I'm here. You know what I mean? I may have been busy trying to figure things out and going from place to place, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it doesn't, like, you guys may feel love for me and support, and you may want to help me in whatever way you can, and many of you have, and I thank you for that. Truly from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. But that, don't get it twisted. Don't think that I'm out here, you know what I mean, like forgetting everything that I've been working up to, everything that I've built and created, everything that we have created, everything that has been divinely, organically grown and nurtured. None of that is going away. And my car may be broken down, but I am not. You know what I mean? And this doesn't have to be. You guys don't have to necessarily have as what feels like as an intense situation as what I'm going through to be able to relate to that, because
Right.
we all go
Freeze.
through crisis.
Freeze. We're
Hmm.
going to back it up some steps.
Hmm.
Okay. Because as things happen, right, we have to remember to breathe because we're going step by step, right? It's not a matter of whose story is woe right now, right? It's the fact that we are all having woe stories at this moment.
Yeah.
I mean, truth, we're all having woe stories one way or another. We all have a woe story.
Hmm.
So when we're in these woe stories, and the reason why we came on today was to really show you the breakdown of the process that we go through
Yeah.
while in these woe moments, right? So the first step is understanding that unconsciously we go right back to survival breathing, right?
Yep.
So then, like, what's the importance on conscious breathing? Well, there's many different forms of conscious breathing. You can find it on YouTube. There's a bunch of people that do different ones, right? And so with this one that we choose to use most is it in through your nose, holding it, feeling that air, feeling your lungs expanded, and then the audible because that audible has really been a thing where we resonate with how those wonky frequencies that aren't really serving us, that are not serving us, how we're able to release them. Right. So then the next step would be going into an expansion. Right now, for you can do word expansions. You'll hear me use one where I have you sit in the room that you're in and expand you all the way out. There's ones that I prefer to use when I'm in these like wonky things are the chakra expansions where you start, from Mother Gaia connecting in, going into your soul star chakra,
Yeah.
into your root chakra, into your sacral chakra, into your solar plex chakra,
Or you
into
can rampage, right?
heart, hold on, into your heart chakra, into your throat chakra, into your crown chakra and all the way up to your earth star chakra, right? And when I get to the earth star chakra, at that point, and when I'm in my infinite space of be, my I am energy, that's where I choose to connect in with Christ conscious frequency. Connecting in with Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, it for me has been like quite life changing. Having that frequency added to my plasma of energy in that realm really just helps me expand out and fill all those holes that I'm getting lost in. Right. And so the next part of this lostness is you go to other people for opinions, right? You go to other people for help. You go to other people for assistance, right? Because as collective, we have always been trained the answer is not within, the answer is outside of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we come in with a pendulum, right? And this is why I make pendulums. To me, this is this beautiful set of where, okay, I'm not going to another human to help guide me on my journey, a journey where I'm breaking molds, a journey where no one else in my family can understand because this wasn't their journey. Right? No right, no wrong. It's just not the same journey, and that's okay. So, going to the pendulum, connecting in with the source of love, God, whatever you choose to call your God, am I connected with God? And then I love to connect in with archangels. Am I connected with the archangels? And then feeling this amazing power of your I'm wrong. That's okay, cool. Anything wrong is for me to learn and you know so okay, awesome things for me. See how over one your questions. Can you hear me? I can't hear you now.
I can hear you.
Okay, now I can hear you. Okay, so connecting in with the pendulum to get, and this again redirects your brain from getting lost in stories, right? To asking simple yes, no questions, right?
Yeah.
Is this for me? Yes. Is this for me? No. And I mean, it's awesome to watch how your energetic field can match with a crystal, and I find pendulums are a very big part of just finding self answers, not getting lost in everyone else's frequency of a story. So, again, this
Yeah.
is not stuff that you guys have to do for yourselves, right? This is my story. This is my journey. And this is how I choose to find new tools to help me guide me in making choices that have never been made before, right? And it's hard because we want this sense of understanding, but in all truth, we're all stepping into energy that has never been done before. And
Yeah.
in that, we have to find that true within empowerment, right? So going from breathing to expansion to pendulums, you know,
These are just examples of tools, and and what I love to do with Jessica is what I call rampaging, and that
and
is
then
something
rampaging, right?
which is
Thank you.
something where it's like if something is taking over your dominant frequency, right? You can focus on something else, a level of gratitude for something or awareness of something that is serving you, right? So the empowerment, right? I'm so blessed, right? Oh my God, can you believe that this and this is going on? Can you believe that this came through for me? Can you believe that this, can you believe like all of how far I've come? Just, do you remember when I was like this and that? You know what I mean? Like you can water that seed. It's like an instant plant, right? That's a seed that you can bring and have that be a dominant awareness that
Changing
brings you
your
further.
focus on from being the things that you're
I can't
lost
hear
in.
you.
Ugh,
I
can
think
you
you
hear me
muted
now?
yourself.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Well, that's okay. Listen, we're having technical difficulties somewhat today. but it's not going to stop the message, right?
Can you
And
hear
it's
me
not
now?
going to stop the awareness.
No.
Like I said, when we all are faced with the moment of some kind of crisis, whether it be spiritual, emotional, financial, relationship wise. Okay, so then it was just me that couldn't hear her. We are then given option, right? How are we going to respond to that? Where are we in our power about that, right?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, and
Holy.
they didn't have any problems hearing you,
Oh,
right? And the thing is, it's like the more we move forward, the more we look around at the world. The
pause.
more we move through this.
Rampage, though. When
Mm-hmm.
you do the rampage, right? And honestly, if you have sessions with me, I will do this. In the middle of a conversation, I'll pause it because there's something there that we need to go into more. So please don't find me rude and interrupting because that's not what I'm doing. I just want to go back to a moment that really had an intense frequency. Okay. So going back to um going back to rampaging, right? The big frequency and rampaging, and what really is amazing about it too is sometimes you may have this like block in front of you, right? And you're like, shit. Sorry, I don't try to cuss on here.
Yeah.
Uh, I have this block, right? And so a lot of times we just focus, 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 focus. And my analytical buddy over here likes to go like way analytical on the freaking block, right? And this is an unconscious thing, right? When you're analytical, you really go like 50 million different directions on the block, right? When you're emotional, you just get overwhelmed with the blockage that's in front of you and there's no help and there's no it just gets very bleh, right? So when we've noticed we've come to these blocks, we like to rampage about the gratitude that we have, shifting our focus from the block to the gratitude. Does that make sense? Did I lose Andy now? Can y'all hear me? I don't know what's happened. They're not trying to let us get this message out today. Andy will be back. I hope you guys can hear me. So, when you focus on the block, right, you're just remember my whole thing. Think it once, you analyze it. Think it more than once, you're manifesting. So, when you're manifesting the block and the stuff in the block, you're like, oh, I'm all about the block, right? You're manifesting more things to come into that block, right? So if you can redirect your focus from the block to the things you're gratitude about, you're grateful for, right? And those things are not outside of you. Okay. When you're rampaging about gratitude, it's rampaging about the gratitude that you have within for you, right? So this is this new side of it where you've got this block, you can feel the block, but now you're going to start going, okay, but you know what? I've got these tools. I know how to breathe. I don't need to be lost in in survival breathing. I can stay focused on my breath, and focusing on my breath helps me expand my aura out, right? And the more space I have in my aura, the more I can navigate all these blocks that try to come because they're not right there in my face anymore. Now that I'm rampaging on the gratitude of how far I've come in this journey, rampaging over how I know how to pick up a pendulum and my brain is no longer going, I know my hand is moving. It's I don't know the actual word. There's a Kine-ology, Keynesianology, I think is what it is, where you can do that with your hand. There's so many amazing things about energy that we get to learn from within, right? And as you focus on that, then that helps you when you come back to that block to look at it with different filters, right? Because it's not the overwhelm filter anymore. Now it's this beautiful, expansive where you're able to really be like, okay, yeah, that might be a block there. But by breathing here, I'm able to see where I have these other options available to me now, right? So go on about where you were from there. I just wanted to explain what exactly the rampage was about when it came to rampaging in this situation, right? That it's not about just staying focused on what it is that's not working for you. It's actually allowing yourself to give gratitude within so you can start really seeing what did work for you from within, not outside.
It's backing you up from being between that rock and that hard place, because those are not your options. And those are not mine. You know what I mean? And my phone overheated to the point where it didn't want to let me use it, so I had to. So if you guys hear this sound, it's because I have to have my car on, and my car's making this sound now. So I apologize for that. But it's just it's one example of a tool, and we each have a way because we each have our own design. And how beautiful is that? Is that each of us have like a tool, whether it's writing, whether it's just hanging out with your kids, right? And so many of us are given gifts in the form of people, and it's not in a sense of dependence, but it's in a sense of other people that can hold a space for you where you are not. You know what I mean? And you can frequency match too.
But in that too though, okay, so when you talk about calling to people, right? So you know how I said that it's better to go to something where like a pendulum you can get your answers, right? Well, the reason I see that is in the beginning of this, right? A lot of times you find the circle around you are unconscious too, right? That's a part of what you're breaking. You're breaking this unconscious trend that's been happening for generations and generations, right? To where like now, like with Andy and I, when we have a conversation about things, sometimes I don't say anything at all. Sometimes I just listen. And in that listening, I'm not thinking. I'm not coming up with a solution when I'm listening. When I'm listening, I'm just holding my I am space, my infinite space of be, so that way Andy can really feel his infinite space of be, right? I'm emotional. Andy's analytical. We don't always resonate with the same things, right? And that is totally okay. It is okay for him to share something with me. I made a bit of a mess in my house. Like, this this desk I just had to have that I found on the side of the road. Like I had to have it. It was all wood. So I brought it in and killed myself doing it, but I did it and I am woman, hear me roar, right? And then now I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh. And Daddy's like, well, you gotta go through things and see what we
Did Jessica freeze for you guys or just me? Yeah, we're going to do a part two to this conversation tonight, because right now we're dealing with technical difficulties, but we hope that you were able to absorb or to receive, to be in resonance. If it was your resonant, if you were truly resonant with it, we hope that you were able to receive what we were willing to share today. And she might join us again, and hopefully she'll be okay and we can wrap up this message. But we're going to do a part two because this is important. There's a reason I'm going through this. There's a reason that this is happening, and it's not just for me, right? And some of this is here to serve all of us, and the awareness that we've come to, the awareness that we've grown through, who we be. Here we go. Who we be. There's too
they
many,
are not trying to let us get this message out.
because there's more to it, Jess, and we're going to get even more strong in and expansive in everything that we're receiving now. You know what I mean? And everything, all the beauty and the gifts. There is a divine cornucopia in all things, right? But sometimes we don't see it. We just don't see it, and that's okay, because we have been trained and programmed in all different kinds of ways. You know what I mean?
And that's
So
the thing, is it at a point where you have to don't have to, sorry. It's at a point in my life where I have realized that going outside of myself for things does not serve me. It really doesn't. Coming into, I've been trying to figure out how to do these videos I've been talking about, right? And I keep running into blocks, these internet issues. And so I'm like, whatever. And I do other things, or I don't feel it, right? And the truth is that we really are here to just share our journeys and not need to step in somebody else's journey. Find some knowledge if that's being shared that resonates, and if it resonates for you, like, see how that resonates for you in your life. The truth is like, even when we're listening to each other, and that's the thing that I was on, was when we're talking, there'll be times where I share an opinion and then you tell me, like, that's very overwhelming to me right now. right? And then we'll get into why that's overwhelming and how, like, really it's not meant to be overwhelming. It's just meant to help you find a frequency in that will work for you. And if it doesn't, and if it feels like it just weighed you down, then let it go. Like, I am not, my worth is not determined on whether or not my journey works for you. It's just not, right? And it took a long time to get there. I mean, that was not an easy thing. Like, my worth was very, very much dependent on and how other people received me, right? And that's where now, like, no, it's not. Like, if you receive me and I share some knowledge that works for you, then hallelujah. And I'm very grateful that I can be here to help you out, to assist, because it's not even helping. Because honestly, I'm not like, in fact, I put myself in a little bit of a financial raw because I was doing something to go outside of me to be able to help, when I've been told the lesson over and over that that's not where the stuff's coming anymore, right? So should I be irritated? Should I be upset? Should I go, well, let's just not do that again, right? And that's pretty much what I do. Everywhere that makes me feel that I can go to the old paradigm of things and make that work for me, I gutted that person out from the inside out. Like, I'm working on the outside now. Like, I have, like, gone in today too, thinking about hair, right? My form and structure. The whole reason I shaved my head was this, like, desire to be free of this form and structure of hair. Like, I've always had this, like, family, like, form and structure over hair. And I shaved my head, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got time for this." And I was just telling Andy how the other day I'm putting oil because now it has to have something or it's a hot, crazy mess, right? And I'm like, is this really something necessary? Do I desire to put the time in to give myself a collectively more feminine look? Right? Because I'm going to tell you, the questions I've been asked over shaving my head has been ridiculous. But not really, though, because it just shows this form and structure that's in every little thing, including our hair, you know? Ask questions into things. If you feel like you have a block of something, ask questions into it. You know, I'm going to let you go back to talking so that way when there are things, I can pause and we can see how because that was another part of today's thing, is to show you exactly what we're talking about. Because, guys, we're human too. We're
Yeah.
not gods. Like,
No.
life affects us just like it affects you. We just try to learn to use our tools in the process of this, right?
And sometimes when we have all of these other things that are attached to the old paradigm, or we're just relating to them in older ways, in ways that are not updated to the new system, right? Then they get removed, right? Or they get pulled away, right? To see, do you realize what you actually have, right? And it's not a punishment, it's not a test. And here, and follow me, because I know you're struggling with it for a second, right? In my situation, right? This journey that has, I would not trade it for the world. I don't care what situation I'm in. I wouldn't trade it for the world, for all the awareness that has come in, right? But this situation is being challenged, and honestly been, you know, hey, we're going to pull this away. Do you remember and do you feel who you are, what you have, the tools that you've accumulated, all of the wisdom and all of the power and the talent and all these and the creativity that you have? You know what I mean? Are you able to stand strong in that? Or are you going to let yourself in this position forget, right? Is my worth attached to what my situation is, right? My ego was a little bit attached to the idea that I'm making this work, right? This is my thing. My ego was attached to this is my thing, right? And I get that. And but it doesn't matter, right? Where I have felt myself being lost is everyone else. Is how everyone else is perceiving me, like what this means for this journey that I have set out, for my intention that I set out, what this means for everything that's going to come of it, right? And again, I keep coming back to, it's not about what it looks like to everyone else. And that again is that relationship, that old way, that old that old way of relating to your life and the things that are going on.
Pause.
Hmm.
Because at that moment, when you're thinking about how everyone else is receiving you, right? You're getting lost in that
Yeah,
instead of focusing on the choices you have to keep you on the journey that you're proceeding in. Go ahead.
exactly. No, that's exactly it. And I think I always, it has been proven to me time and time again that we may feel alone, and we may feel like what we're going through is what we're going through and nobody else can relate to it, right? And you're just alone, you know? And the fact of the matter is, like, that's not
You
true.
are alone, but you are alone.
Right.
Truth
But,
is, you are alone
yeah,
and you are alone in your journey, right? So, therefore, it's time for you to learn how to connect into your I am energy,
exactly.
into your infinite space of being, so you can expand out and feel how empowered you truly be because you know everything that you truly need and not need this damn need word.
Yeah.
Everything that you desire is truly within.
Mm-hmm.
And then the things, the need is everything outside of you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So do you really need anything or do you desire things?
Yeah.
And words are like my aunt used to be like, words are semantics. She is so right with that though, because choosing the words that you're choosing, okay, is allowing you're telling the universe, this is what I desire. Because that's what the universe hears. When the universe hears you manifest something with your words or think it multiple times, then the frequency you're putting out, the universe says, okay, I'll match it. Because the universe doesn't know right, wrong, heavy, light. The universe is just matching what you're sending out. Go ahead.
No, that's beautiful. I
No,
think
just go ahead and
no.
what you're.
What I was getting at was it's not about the focus and that we were talking about alone is getting lost in, like, I'm alone, right? What are my options? What are my choices, right? They may feel limited, but in reality, what's happening is that you're detethering yourself from the options and the choices that you've made before. What about these choices that you're making now are different from the choices you're making before,
And
right?
why does it serve you to make them different?
Mm-hmm.
But really,
Yeah.
that's something to ask.
Well,
Does it
yeah. Well,
truly
because
serve you to choose something different, or does it truly serve you to continue on with what you've been choosing? These are questions you need to ask
yeah.
yourself. Because if you ask me that, I'm going to tell you what, you got to ask yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that answer for you. Only you know that answer. Right? When you work with me, it's not for me to tell you about your story. It's for me to help you understand your frequency. When you've dipped down into something different than what you were, and I can go, wait, pause. Is that really serving you? That'll be the first question. Is that something that's serving you? And if listening to me and the videos that I'll put in, your yes, your body yes, your body no, I'm going to ask you to connect into that because that is the only thing that's really telling you what works for you, not me. I'm just sharing knowledge. And if some kind of knowledge in there works, I'm doing energetic clearings to give you more space. But if you turn around and put all that right back in, well, then you chose to put it all
Well,
right
yeah,
back.
and that goes back to the key, right? We can show you where your key is, but you have to be the
I
one to take.
can't pick it up.
Right.
I can't
And
pick it up. If I take you into a mind dungeon and you don't know your body yes and no feelings, right? If you don't fully resonate with your body yes and no, I may lose you in there. And I will not do that because I can't go into that dungeon and pull you out. The only thing I can do is shine a light where your key is, help you connect in with me with breath, remind you that everything's okay. We can expand our auras out, and the world doesn't need to feel as chaotic as it is right now because you can create a space of ease and then look down and see your key because you dropped it during all the chaos. It happens, right? But I can't pick it up for you, and it's not nobody on the outside has that key. It's in there with you. And it's up to you if you can give yourself that sense of space to be able to see it and pick it up.
yeah, and I think at this time, it doesn't matter what your actual circumstances are. We can all resonate with the feeling of some type of crisis,
Yeah.
whether it be emotional,
The
right?
chaotic
Overwhelm.
energy is collective because of where Pluto is sitting in the planetary
Yeah.
stuff. Started in February, chaos energy for the next 2 years. So are you going to get lost in the chaos? Are you going to learn how to navigate through chaos?
You froze again. Is she frozen for you guys too? That's okay. I think the point too is like, and I have to say, I've said this earlier, and I have to say it again. You guys, so many of you guys have shown up and really offered support in such beautiful ways, and know that that is not lost on me. That is received, and that abundance, and that belief, the belief that you guys have in me, the value that you guys receive from me, and that you're open to receiving, it matters, and it means a lot. And if the fact that what I'm going through and me updating you guys, if I've been vulnerable and shown you guys my
That's give,
overwhelm,
but that's giving you space to learn how to receive, right? And this
yeah,
is what we've talked about before too. You have no problem coming on here giving free readings, right? But the truth is by giving it free so many times, it starts to not really have its deliciousness that it really is, right?
yeah,
Because this is what happens when we overgive, right?
mm-hmm,
There's got to be a sense of an offering and then a sense of time where you learn how to receive. And right now, you're in the moment of learning how to receive. It's very easy to give, especially when you're an overgiver, right?
yeah,
When you're an overgiver, you have no problem giving. It's another thing to learn how to sit back, ask for help, and receive,
yeah,
right? Because again, is it help or is it assistance? Because I don't see
yeah,
you looking for anybody to grab you out. You're just looking for assistance. You're
mm-hmm,
looking for assistance, and you are just sitting back waiting to receive.
yeah,
And whatever assistance you're able to receive is going to help you navigate in your next choice, your next
yes,
option that you're going to take. And anything more than that is just that.
well,
More
yeah,
than that.
and if me being in this situation, or if receiving, my updates and all of this stuff has triggered you all in some way, know that it's for a reason, right? There's a reason to have this platform. Everything happens for a reason. And if you don't think God has his hands in this, and God, you know, then you're mistaken, because
You're
this
in the
this
wrong
has
group.
this has God's signature all over it. You know what I mean? And I receive it. I receive it for what it is. You know what I mean? And I may feel like, in my space now, I may feel like I know where I'm going, or what I feel is right for me. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, God's way will always prevail, and I will always have an ear to the sky. You know what I mean? For that. Because that has been my saving grace this entire time. And if what I'm going through and the awareness that comes through me and that I'm able to share with you helps you in some way, then all of this is worth it. And it's worth it to me because the awareness is coming to me is golden,
And that
right?
was the whole point of coming on here,
Mm-hmm.
showing that we're human, showing that there's actual things that we do to shift this, right? And this is what Violet Pathways was made for. It wasn't
Yeah.
made just to be a get online and read tarot all the time. It wasn't. This was meant to be a place where intuitives come together and we share our tools. We share the things that have helped us shift. And if it's something that resonates with you and you would like to know more, then we all have our private sites. We all are paying for, like I have my own small business LLC. Like that took money to come back in. I've spent like over, what did we say, like
Yeah.
$30,000 in courses. Like I've got like so many papers, it's not funny. So do I feel that what I offer is worth something? Yes, I do. If you want a private mentorship with me, it's $888 a month. You know, why is that?
Yeah, me too.
Well, I have one session with you where we're dealing with conscious awareness stuff. I hold space for you during the week. All of that stuff is energetics. And energetics It takes just as much out of you as a hard labor job. And
Yeah.
why is an energetic not a, and that's what I find funny too. Like energetics teaching, right? From high school down in the public school system, you make nothing, right? Free school, you make nothing as an instructor. Like you barely make enough to survive, like barely. And I'm thinking like in an apartment survive, right? But you pay for a private school. You got a teacher that's making more money, is more abundant in his finances, right? You pay for college. You have professors that are looked up to with doctors in front of their names because they've made this their life of going to school, paying for school, right? But if it's not held by an accredited person, an accredited course, then that knowledge is worth nothing. The wonkiness that we have in all of this, it's about getting clear with yourself, untangling from all of these frequencies that really aren't serving you, other to be a slave to someone else,
Yeah.
and same, this I'll do for you, you do for like, we are on this thing of energetic exchange. I show up for you, you show up for me, and is there anything wonky in that? No, because there's no expectations held. It's just this level of person that we choose to be. And so because we choose to be this level of person, we've invited more people into our lives that are in this level. People who we would have not found before. You're in New York, I'm in Vegas. Well, not anymore, but in New York, I was in Vegas. Our paths would have never. I'm 10 years older than you are. Our
Yeah.
paths would have never crossed. But something decided that we needed to understand this shift in this, right? And for us to be able to come and hold this energy to help us understand this process is really what we've been guided to do, and it's to give an offering. If you desire to have some one-on-one, then amazing, we're here for that too, right? But we don't overextend ourselves. We only take 2 to 3 people a day. We don't try to do more than that because it's not giving a quality of energy for either one of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this new understanding of what it means to really be in this abundant form. Where is it that you're over anything? Doing, overcompensating, overgiving, over loving, over. There's so many over blah blah blahs that come behind that. And it's really at a time where to start looking at that and get clear with why.
Yeah.
And is it serving you? And if it is, then hey, hold on to it. If it's not, then it's super easy. You can just simply consciously in your mind say, I choose to stop doing that. I
Yeah.
choose to not use that any longer. And I know it's like, it really is that simple, you know?
Well,
It
it's a
really
choice
is.
that's hard at first. It's a choice that feels difficult at first. But after a few times of choosing it and feeling the difference, right? Oh, I'm in a different paradigm. Things are coming together differently now, right? What a blessing that is. And then that makes it easier to make that choice. And sometimes it's not even the choice itself that's hard. It's remembering that you have one, right? Because so often we are creatures of habit at times, and habit is a very strong force,
Yeah.
and it can work for you or it can work against you. And it's
I
really,
got in the habit of being in the classes. I got a habit in grabbing more and more information and more freaking pieces of paper. In fact, even this morning, I'm like, I should just finish up my degree and get my counseling degree. And then I'm like, why? Why do I need another piece of paper? I don't. That piece of paper doesn't validate me. It doesn't. The time, the effort, the knowledge, the studying, the putting it into play, that's what puts me in a different position. That's what makes me understand really what's going on here. It's because I'm experimenting with it.
yeah. We thank you guys for sharing this space with us and for receiving it. And we're going to continue, regardless what curveballs are thrown at us. Our foundation is strong enough Not only that, we are experiencing and growing in this new paradigm of abundance. And it doesn't matter what anybody on the outside looking in feels about it, right? All that matters is that we are able to, regardless of what is happening outside, we are able to hold a stasis of peace, belief, and faith. And whatever it is that is thrown at us, we are going to look at it, work through it, whether individually or together, and bring awareness to it. Because we know that we are not alone. This human experience is a shared experience. If it's you, then it's me. If it's me, then it's you.
We're all human. We're all
Mm-hmm.
going through this stuff, you know? Do we get lost in it? I mean, I know you guys are seeing the CERN videos all over the place. Are you getting lost in it? Truth is, if you, it's all about what we're thinking, right? If you hold space for fear, then more fear will come.
Mm-hmm.
If you hold space for just enlightenment and understanding and choosing to be on their best abundant life force timeline, then that's what you get to choose too. And we're going through the process too, right? Step by step, moment by moment, we're going through it too. We're just here to share with you. Hold that space of knowledge that we've created when we've chosen to go within and just research. Learn more, understand this, understand that, paint, create, take another class.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to share.
Yeah.
We've done it a bunch. And it's time for us all to remember through all this chaos, we can choose something different. We don't
Yes.
have to choose to get lost in the chaos. This whole thing about food and this and that, like, go get some granola bars.
Mm-hmm.
Why people are getting rice when electricity is getting turned off, like, I don't understand that unless you have campfires outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, some of this doesn't make sense. So make sense of what works for you.
Yeah.
Do you have to go crazy with it?
Be brave enough to see the choices and the options that are arising through what everyone else may experience as limitation. No, this is just circle. This is just centering in on what my other options are, right? And this is just another thing to explore, right? And we're talking about the stability and the alignment within yourself, the strength. All of these things that come at you, regardless of what you're going through, is an opportunity for you to strengthen your foundation, so that your house on that hill is able to withstand any storm and still
Yep.
stand strong.
I was here so your autobiography will have a super amazing chapter that will just be a page turner.
All right.
Things to make you smile and not to get lost in this.
Jesus wants to join the party, I guess.
See? Christ conscious frequency.
Mm-hmm.
In my experiment, I've been really working differently with that energy and, coming in and using it to push. It's a little complicated if you haven't been doing it, but it really does come in and just seal up things in a way that you had to do the work to seal it up first, though. So, and
Yeah.
that's the thing, asking questions, finding, there's conscious awareness. I'm not the only conscious awareness person. There's a bunch of conscious awareness people. Um, if I don't resonate with you, someone else might, but really truly being able to understand these frequencies of things and how they get tied into us and how simply we can choose to remove it when we go in and use the right words and the right frequency, those are the things that are the takeaway, right? The takeaway of understanding, now you know those words for yourself. Now, when you start feeling overwhelmed in these things, you can ask yourself, is this even yours? Yes, no. And feel your body lightness. And whatever your body felt like, woohoo, that's it. Then woohoo, that's the answer, right?
We love you
See?
guys, and we thank you. We leave you in your divine light of the divine creator. And we're looking forward to all the ways in which this experience and this incarnation allows more of the true I am to emerge within ourselves and within you. And that light, that spotlight, when found and maintained and kept, is the source of everything. That is the whole purpose of this time. So I tell God, bring it on. The storm is for me to weather, and you wouldn't be bringing it to me if it wasn't for me, right? And I invite you.
I just saw you. I haven't told you this in a while.
What?
Remember, okay, so Andy is he likes serenity, okay?
Yeah.
He likes the like crazy tornado earth energy, air energy that's like wow wow wow, wow crazy like wow, right? And in the middle of that crazy, Andy loves to be the eye of the storm. He loves to be in the middle and bring that calm and peaceness, right? So it's not surprising to me that this is
Yeah, yeah.
happening because this and then Andy's like and I'm like, no, no, Jessica does not like tornadoes at all. Jessica is tsunami, okay? I'm either like way up high
Jessica,
or I'm
Jessica,
like
Miss
down
Jessica,
low.
Miss Jessica lives in the desert where it barely even rains.
Yeah, and I'm tsunami energy. So yeah, I'm like, dude, it's summertime. You think you're talking to me after 1 o'clock? It's probably not gonna happen because I'm dying slowly but surely, dehydrating and flaking away. So the truth is to understand who you are, right? And in having friends, it's not to like always it's not the sense of being who they are. It's the sense of being in this yummy space where you both can be whoever you are without judgment,
Yeah.
right? Where you get to understand like I was saying, when I listen to him, sometimes I just sit there and I'm quiet. I don't say anything. And I'm not there to say something. I'm just there to hold space so he can hear himself talk and come up with his own solutions.
Yeah.
And then other times I'm there to say something and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's enough. No
Mm-hmm.
more. I'm not putting up with this anymore. We need to move on. And so sometimes there's that dominant thing of like, look, you've gotten to a line of you're taking it too far. Let's
Yeah. And
back it up
sometimes it's
some,
the other way around. You know what I mean?
right?
And that's the beauty of it. And I think, oh, like,
That's the thing about this new friendship, though,
yeah,
right? This new friendship is to be able to see when someone like Andy, you got too close to the tornado. Okay. You are no longer the eye of the storm. Now you're getting sucked into the wind. So if you want to stop, let's breathe and come back, right? And same with me. You're like, Jessica, why in the heck did you just turn yourself upside down in a freaking little whirlpool and then act like you're nothing but a puddle? You're a freaking tsunami. What are you doing, right? And it's understanding that sometimes we don't want to hear it, right? And we're like, no. And then sometimes, like with this, we know that we're not judging each other. And when we say this to each other, we really are going into a deep auto program that didn't serve us and we're getting lost in it. And when we have that reminder, it's to breathe. When we hear that, it's to breathe. It's not for you to listen to what I'm telling you to do. It's stop. Let's just breathe. Let's take a moment, right? And in that moment is when we're able to be like, dang, I don't need to have resistance against this. This person's not trying to control me. This
mm-hmm.
person's just trying to help me stay in my infinite space to be. And they see that I am no longer in that space and I'm going down fast. So I need a quick little like boop boop of a reminder. Let's wake up real quick. What are you doing? You
Yeah.
know? And that's the difference. And even when you need to breathe, like, no, it's not you need to breathe. It's okay, let's breathe. Again, see the difference? If I'm like, you need to breathe, then now you got shame, now you got wonkiness, now you got all
Yeah.
kinds of different energy. Now you're being told what to do, right? Instead of let's breathe. Okay, this is whoa, let's breathe. Everything all that is whoa, ah, and that's how we get through that, right? Everything all, and you will hear me. Everything all that is whoa, no, 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 ah. And that is that process. That's the process of learning how to be a friend, how to be a companion in this new paradigm. Because it's not Andy trying to fix me, and it's not me trying to fix Andy. It's us seeing each other for this amazing infinite be that we are and just holding space for each other to be that. Right. And that's what we're offering to you. We're offering, like, hey, we figured out this connection. So, in this connection, let me teach you how this really works. Let me teach you how we've made this work for us. Sometimes we may say something that we're like, whoa, everything, all that is like, I don't even know where that came from. Right? We give ourselves that allowance to be able to hear something, feel something, and go, whoa, that did not work for me. And the other one's like, oh, whew, thanks, because that wasn't working for me either. Right? And we
Yeah,
get to clear it. We get
yeah,
to move through it. We don't have to have all these things, these you like to call them, I always see them as like extension cords. We don't
yeah.
always have to have these cords plugged into people to be feeding different parts
Well,
of us.
yes, and also the heat's in the kitchen is only going to get hotter, right? And that's just a part of this process. That's a part of ascension. That's what we all signed up for. And a lot of you guys are still in somewhat denial. If you guys watch my YouTube video, in the beginning of my introduction of my first couple videos, I talk about being having a foot in both paradigms. And that's having a foot in both paradigms. You receive this when it serves you to make you feel better for where you are. And eventually you will, because we were there too, I was there too. Eventually you will receive this as and understand this as being the core of everything that's happening, the core of everything in your life right now, right? It's not just something you whip out your back pocket and start to give energy to when you're faced with crisis. This is something that is here and is present and is part of the conversation, and your belief and understanding that a lot of these things are happening for you and not to you is going to be strengthened every time you are faced with this crisis and you make a choice of empowerment.
Yeah, why does this always happen to me?
Mm-hmm.
When you ask yourself that question, you
Oh,
need to stop.
I've asked myself that several times during
And
this
that's
week.
when it's freeze,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do when you hear that? You've been in that this why does this always happen to me? What do you
To
do?
be honest, personally, for me,
How do you walk your
I've
analytical self out of it?
I have this experience of knowing what it feels like when I'm adding fuel to the fire. I can feel that indication, that nuance, that energy that spirit gives me of like, okay, we understand that this feels sucky to you, but that is not helping. You know what I mean? Like that is not helping, and I can feel them. And it's not a shame. It's not a shamey thing. It's like, okay, we know what you desire, and we're holding space for you, right? But what you're doing is you're going the other direction, and we need you to take a second. And I can feel it, right? And you all can feel it, right? And it's not about, people have this misconception about growing your gifts and feeling like it's not just for the sake of business. It's not for the sake of just making money. It's not for the sake of being able to impress people. Because I had that paradigm for the first 6-7 months to a year that I was
I
working.
Yeah, mine was to know me. My intention
Yeah,
when I started learning my gifts was for me, and I was raised in a time where you didn't talk about this stuff,
and
you know?
understanding the different nuances of your knowing, regardless of what situation you're in. And one of the cool things about this, I'm going to make a video about this. One of the cool things about this whole breakdown is me understanding and having to learn all the different parts and ways that the car comes together and what happens. You know what I mean? The spirit was using that as an analogy to help me understand my frequency, what I hold, right? And what and how this feeds into this and how this goes into this, and if this doesn't work, if there's this off, and you know what I mean. And spirit is showing me how my own alignment is basically very similar to the mechanics of a car.
That's why I go to chakras when I
Mm-hmm.
expand out. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I expand out, I tap into that Christ conscious energy in my soul star chakra and pull it all the way back down to Mother Gaia, and in that expand my aura out more space.
Missy, that's okay. Thank you. I appreciate the help that you were given. And here's the thing, guys. Like, again, I have to thank you guys again because you guys showed me that in my moment of vulnerability, you guys saw those updates. And in those updates, I was defeated. You know what I mean? And I was just having a moment of vulnerability to say, hey, this is my situation. And if you feel guided to help in whatever way, whether it be a prayer, whether it be holding space for me, whether it be you sending me some kind of money, right? You helped and you helped and you were there for me. And I'll never forget that. Not only because you helped me, but because you showed me that it's okay to receive.
They assisted you in learning how to receive.
Mm-hmm.
Because that hope word is another wonky one. Help,
Yeah, yeah,
need.
yeah,
I'm
you're
about
right.
to zap them out of your
You're
vocabulary.
right. Please do. But
But that's the
I'm
thing, though. You guys have all held space where he was able to learn how to truly receive,
and you
right? Because
expanded my options. You made it possible for me to go and get this part and see if I can fix it myself,
and he
and
did.
go, and I did, and I fixed
He
it for
put it
him.
on himself. Like that's
Yeah.
the biggest cheat. So let's go step by step, okay? He's on the freeway. The car
Mhm.
stops accelerating, right? He ends up on the side of the road and he calls me. And I'm like hearing the cars go by. I know Ralphie's in the car. Like I could feel the overwhelm. And so I breathe and I calm everything back down in my own centers, right? And then I'm like, does the car move? Does it go at all? And you're like, yes, it does. It goes like 20 miles an hour. And I'm like, stay in the emergency lane and go 20 miles an hour down the road to the exit sign. And as you started doing it, then you had what? You didn't get lost in the fear and the overwhelm, right? We went back into the space of woozah, right? And in that woozah, we started going step by step. Does the car move? It does move. Okay, great. Let's make it move. So let's move, right?
Thank
Once
you,
you
Miss.
started once you started moving, right, then you ended up with that emergency vehicle guy behind you, right? And his lights on, and he followed you off the road. And you're like, he's following me in here. And I'm like, awesome. Call me back because I know he's going to help you out. So we hang up, right? So then you find from him that it's the fuel filter or oil filter. So then you and I'm
I
watching
trucked
him.
my ass 8 miles.
I stalk him on the whole Find My
Jessica
Friend
has my
thing.
location constantly on her phone, so she's
So
always
I'm
looking.
always watching him, like watching where he's going and watching where he's moving, right? But earlier in that day, he had been in Chicago, got lost in Chicago trying to fix a tire. Got very scary because Chicago, if you haven't been to Chicago, the off ramps are not where they normally are anywhere else. Okay.
Hmm.
They're in the middle, like fast lanes, how you get on and off the freeway. So that's very disorientating. And he made it through Chicago, got out of Illinois, and right when he got into Iowa, this happens, right? So he could have been lost in a city where he didn't have help like this, right? Where it would have been way more overwhelming and no parks close and oh my Lanta, right? But that wasn't the case. So we held awareness and gratitude for the fact that he got off the freeway safely. That guy came behind him, watched him chug, chug, chug to Walmart. He got in at the last thing. The guy got him in. His mom helped him out, chug, 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 and then still no work, right? And then he was getting lost in the overwhelm. And then show him your arm.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then I just fell because people were giving me all types of suggestions, and I was trying to take them. Like, okay, unplug the battery, do this, do that. I had already received the message that I had done enough for the day. I had already received the message, you've done everything you can do, now go to bed. But I didn't want to go to bed feeling like I was going to wake up and my car wasn't going to work, right? So I kept pushing myself. And so I fell and I scraped my arm and my knee, and I was just on the floor just crying. Why is this happening to me? This is terrible. What did I do? Blah blah blah, right? And I just went to bed. I was just like, I can't, that was just Spirit's way of being like, all right, you're done. Stop doing this. Stop fucking around with the car. Go to bed. You'll wake up tomorrow and it'll be a new day, right? Then the next day comes. And then I go
Because
to,
you unplugged the car,
yeah,
the sensor lights weren't on anymore. So when you
yes.
went to the guy to find out what was going on, then he wasn't able to tell you because there was no lights on, and then you ended up in front of O'Reilly's.
So I ended up in front of O'Reilly's hoping that somebody would come along and, be like, oh, hey, like, are you having trouble? Like, what's going on? Right? Surely enough, that didn't happen and that's okay. But
But
then
what
I
did
had done,
happen?
and that's where I did the update video, right, where I was telling you guys what was going on, and then I started getting some help, and I had received just enough to be able to get this part that was broken.
Because you had a friend who's called you and helped walk you through the things. You found where there was a part that had huge gaps and cracks in it, and you're like, and I'm like, well, it's air intake. That's very possible. That's it. Like you're gonna have to replace it anyways, right? And you went into the store. This is a big part of it because I'm gonna tell you, most people who go to O'Reilly's, they're just like I am. In fact, mine was AutoZone, not O'Reilly's, but whenever I bought anything from AutoZone, they never come out and assist me with my purchase, okay? You had assistance not from one employee, but from two employees helping you assisting you in putting that part into your car. That's a huge big form of abundance there too, because I'm telling you, most people don't get that kind of help.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I've been blessed in every single way, right? And so then that situation, so then I'm over here, and I'm trying to put this in the car. Things are not, whatever. They come out, they help me, right? And they're showing me, and I'm doing it myself, but they're kind of guiding me, you know what I mean, and showing me, which
They're
is
assisting.
beautiful. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're assisting me, you know. And then so then still, that isn't fixing the problem. So then I'm lost again, right? And I'm like, damn, So then I talk to the mechanic, and the mechanic is telling me that they're gonna charge me $150 to even look at it, right? So I'm like, all right, and they're like, well, we can't see you till tomorrow. Okay, cool. So then I'm like, looking at my bank. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna get lost. I'm just gonna wait tomorrow. I'm gonna hold space for this to be an easy fix, and whatever. Go to the mechanic. Sure enough, they're like, well, it looks like it's the oxygen sensor, but the oxygen sensor is fused to the catalytic converter, and if we remove the oxygen sensor and damage the catalytic converter, we won't let you release. We won't release your car unless you pay for a new catalytic converter. And even if you do that, there's no guarantee it's not the transmission. So our recommendation is that this car is done. Right. So then that was like a whole level of loss that I had not even felt before. Right. So then and again, the support keeps coming in, the prayers, the well wishes, you know what I mean? And remembering that, you know, God has a plan. And it's not about what's happening to me. It's about what's happening for me and what I do with it. Right? So then my car's deteriorating further, in the sense that, like, now, even going up a hill where I was going 20 miles an hour, then it started going to 15. Now it's going to 10. And now going up a hill, I have to pray that my car is not going to stop. You know what I mean? And then
Not
so my
funny.
car, I started going up a hill and my car started stopping. So I got panicked and I was like, let me turn into this parking lot. What happens? My car's engine just goes, right? And it just turns off, and I'm in the middle of the road trying to get into this go up this little tiny hill to get into the parking lot, and people are driving around me, and I'm over here looking and beeping, and I'm holding Rafi because I don't want him in the back of the car in case he gets hit. Then he's back there. No, he's coming with me, right? And then finally somebody comes and they're like, "Hey, do you need a hand?" Yes. Help. Thank you. Assist. Thank you. You know what I mean? And so they chain my car up to the thing, and then they pull me up the hill, and I sleep in that parking lot. That was last night, and here we are today.
And it's just saving step by step.
Mm-hmm.
You have the pressure of knowing you have a job in a state that you're on your way to, you know. It's just breathing and allowing yourself to receive right now. And so for you guys that are also going through your own stuff, breathe and allow yourself to receive, whether it's financial, whether
Yeah.
it's awareness, whether it's knowledge, whatever that happens to be, you know, and really truly breathe. My big thing for today is breathe. Breath is a big thing. And today, breath it feels like the number one thing of understanding conscious breathing, somatic breathing. There's so many amazing things. Like you can get abs from breathing, you can orgasm from breathing.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's so many amazing things you can do with breathing. We just breathe on survival when the chaos comes in so much, you know.
Um, Missy, my whole so where I'm at right now is that the most viable option and what I desire is a vehicle that can get me from here to Colorado. Because once I get there, there's a bus system. So even if the car breaks down while I'm there or anything happens over there, at least I can get to work, come home, and have somewhere to stay, like I have been doing. I have no resistance or no issues with the car living. Right? That's actually been it's really been nice. It's been fun, and I love it. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that that's not my issue. My issue getting there and not having to get rid of my stuff, right? I have a lot. I've minimized enough to be able to come, and I have things that I would like to be able to take with me, right? I'm about 12 hours from Colorado. Um, so my thing is just like investing even in a ride to get there, then I need a place to stay, right? So and that's not really an option out there because it's such a resort destination, which is why it pays so well. So where I'm holding space for what I desire is for me to get find some kind of vehicle that will get me from point A to point B and have the funds when I scrap this car, between the money I have and scrapping this car, and hopefully and not hopefully, but
Yeah,
with
but I wonder though. She actually brings up a good thing. Why can't you like rent a U-Haul truck? Credit card. That makes sense. Never mind.
yeah, yeah.
I was just always said, see, but this is okay. So here's the thing, right? So Missy's like Uber, or another ride to the destination, right? And Nancy's talking, like all of a sudden, I see a U-Haul truck, right?
Jackie
Like
says put it in storage and fly.
that's an option too.
Am I able to set up shop? What do you
See,
mean, Wendy?
are you able to put something together and work?
Well, okay, so put it in storage and fly. Beautiful. Yeah, but that's the thing, Jackie, is that even if I go there and I fly there, I don't have a living situation there. You know what I mean? And the money that I would spend to travel with me and Raphael to get over there. Right, but the thing with the buying the new car is that I will have somewhere to stay when I get there. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where that choice and that option is being the most viable one for me. Because if I can get something that's going to get me there, then I can take bus to and from and have somewhere to stay. Over there are no roommates looking for no rooms open, right? Apartments are not really a viable option for me, based on the fact that this is my business. You know what I mean? And that is, there are certain obstacles that I can Airbnb a room for how long? If I'm working and
Okay,
that's yeah.
this is where we come to opinion. It's appreciated, like
I
many
appreciate it.
options,
Yeah.
definitely. But this is also why, right, you guys, in your own in your own awareness, you really have to come clear with what your desires are. Because truth, Andy, truth is, you really could do a million different gazillion things,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is that's not really where you are locked in. Right now, you are locked into going to Colorado for this job that you have that's offered to you, right? So, in that, you're going to really just make your choices in that. But truth is, like for all of us, there always are many different options. This one just seems to resonate more with Andy and his body and consciously awareness
Exactly.
conversations, that this is what actually works for him, right? So like it is like all in
It's just got to and here's the thing too, is that it's for I would like it to
all
continue to
but
function.
truth is all these opinions are given out of love, right? They're
Yes.
just trying to give you choices and
Yeah.
options, right? And in that it becomes like this overwhelming frequency of like I've already thought about these things, and then sometimes we can come snappy when we're overwhelmed with stuff, right? This is all of us. Sometimes it can just be overwhelming, and when more choices are given, more options are given, it becomes too much, right? And so the clear thing on this is that he's going to have to make his own choices. And he's choosing to go to Colorado. And in this choice, he's looking for assistance to help him in his choice. Not whether or not we think that's a viable choice. He's not asking for assistance in our opinions. He's asking us an assistance in praying, holding space, or financially giving him space to where he can make choices that actually work for him, right? And so this is where, again, this old paradigm, and this is what we have all been trained and taught to do. If I'm going to assist you, well, then it has to be this way because you need assistance, obviously. So you obviously can't do something on your own. You need my guidelines along with your assistance, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
that's not what's necessary right now. right now is understanding that we all have our own journeys,
Yeah.
right? And the assistance that we're really looking for at this moment is space to help us really see what our journeys are, not to get lost in other people's spots of journeys, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's another thing too is and that's something that's important too is like I really do feel there was many points during this time where I truly actually felt the prayers of well wishes and the care and the concern that everyone was feeling for me. You know what I mean? And that's such a beautiful thing. That's very empowering. There's so many
That
different
adds a
ways.
space of empowerment for you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of feeling like abandonment and feeling like no one has any space for you, it gives you that space to really tap into what is it that works for you,
Yeah.
right? And so, truth is, this is again this new way that we're able to be friends with people.
Yeah.
We're able to be friends with people because we're not holding them to our energetic timestamp, right? We're holding being friends for people so that way. Did I come back, Wandy? I did disappear, but I'm
Yeah.
back. Ha 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 ha. And Wandy, you got your pendulum, right? I saw that in the mail. Um, I need to message Wandy. Um, we're at a time in this planet energetically that it's time to learn to hold space for people to be who they be,
Yeah.
not for people who are trying to chameleon with you. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Wendy loves it. I'm glad you got it and you love it. Awesome, awesome. Um, and that's the big thing right now, right? So many times we have been in this energy of like even with celebrities, right? Like how many women look like Kim Kardashian? Oh yeah, and by the way, Kim Kardashian's behind is not as large as it used to be. It lost like half of its width, actually more than that. So every woman who at that time decided to do body transformations to their body to match up someone they idolized, now what? Do you have them reconstructive surgery money to go and like take all that out now? Or are you just going to sit with a rear end that's like way, way large? you know I mean, it's all these different things that we go through. It's all these things of feeling like if I'm like this person then I'll be liked more. Stop feeding the toxic self-worth frequencies.
Yeah.
I'm here to really try to help you guys all see how to hold a frequency of divine energy in your self-worth, how to understand when you're molding yourself into something that you're not. Because believe me, it still happens when I walk into the house with my grandma. I'm taking responsibility for an air conditioning breaking that is just because due time has, right?
Mm-hmm.
Time has broken it. There's other options, but she doesn't want to hear the options. But yeah, I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm not an artist. Yeah, I'm not all these things. Well, in her mind, I'm not. But her mind doesn't match up to my reality. It never has. Her
Mm-hmm.
mind has never matched to my reality. I tried for a long time to match my reality to her mind, like her frequencies of who I should be and blah, blah, blah. Every single time, I was miserable. Every single time. Every single time I try to be someone else's something that I'm not, I'm miserable. So who am I? This is why I've taken time to myself.
Go.
This is why I try to truly only stay in the higher paradigm because I've had so much time in the lower paradigm. I'm tired of it. I don't want to be in that anymore. And how do I not be in that? Well, I have to take some time to really learn who I am. I have to really find out who I be. What is it that I like? What works for me? How does this one person do it? But that's kind of missing something for me. Well, why is it missing something? Because for me, it's supposed to be a little something else. Does that mean that person's doing it wrong? No. That means for me and my frequency, I took that and I got to be an amazing wolf and add to that knowledge and turn it into wisdom. But who's that
Yes.
wisdom for? Is that wisdom for others or is that wisdom for myself? That's wisdom for myself.
Hmm.
And in through that, if there's some way that you're able to resonate with the wisdom that I have created for myself, then amazing, because you're going to take some knowledge from my wisdom and you're going to create your own wisdom.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be identical to mine because we're not identical. Even our eyes are not identical. You might have hazel eyes and I might have hazel eyes, but mine turn blue and green and all kinds of colors
Hmm.
depending on my mood. I asked somebody that once that was close to me. I asked them, "What color are my eyes?" And they said, "Well, right now they're a blue." And I'm like, "My eyes aren't blue." And they're like, "Yeah, when you're really happy and like just so content in life, your eyes are a blue. They're like a light green blue." And I'm like, "What?" And I jumped up and I looked in the mirror and sure enough, they were like this light blue green. Like it was really neat. And when I'm overwhelmed, they get really dark, muggy greenish brown. Right. And when I'm in my balance, like I'm good, like, not completely at my euphoria, but I'm learning, then they're this like nice light sagey green. They change colors depending on where my energy is. Do yours? Have you even paid attention? When was the last time when you exhaled, you actually felt a lip,
Or
the
even,
breath on your lip?
even I think it's not even necessarily just the color, right? You can look at back at photos of yourself when you were lost and stuff, and you can see it in your eyes. You know what I mean? But my phone is about to die.
All right. Well, loves, we're going to send you with this. And just on your journey today, you know, really just take some time. Feel the breath come off your lungs, your mouth, on your lips. Take time, look in the mirror. Really look at yourself. See you. Find who you are. And once you do that, it's way easier to start navigating decisions, right? And until the next time, again, don't take everything I said for like word of word. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I am only sharing things that have worked for me. And we appreciate you showing up. We appreciate you being a part of our community and our tribe. And I so appreciate all of you helping Andy on this lesson of learning how to receive.
God bless everybody.